Join in on uplifting stories, inspiring conversations, and great things happening here in our community. I'm Jordan, father of two, husband of one, and I was born and raised right here in northern Indiana. Join me with my over-the-top curiosity as I discover what makes our local community great. Now it's time for some good news, Michiana.
Hey everybody, it's a Friday, January 5th. Hope you're ready for a great day and a great weekend. Who's ready for a fantastic Friday? Join us for some fun ways to experience outdoors this weekend and a heartfelt story about distance love that started back during World War II. In downtown Elkhart, temperatures are expected to stay above freezing and get into the high 30s over the weekend, and according to the National Weather Service, snow is expected with some new accumulation of less than half an inch. These warmer than average temperatures have not put a strain on the NIBCO Water and Ice Park, which is an ice skating rink in downtown Elkhart. With many out on winter break, the outdoor ice rink has been a popular recreation activity. With weather permitting, this ice rink will remain open from 1 to 5 and then 6 to 10 on Saturday and then 1 to 5 on Sunday. Next week, they do go back to being open only Friday through Sunday. Admission is $3 for children, $5 for adults, and skate rental is $3. Up near Kalamazoo, Michigan, a Swiss Valley ski and snowboard area has announced that it will be open for the season Saturday, January 6th, thanks to a hard push for this week with snowmaking. The resort said to expect little terrain this weekend, though it plans to keep adding to it as much as they can. They said, to guarantee an opening, we focus very heavily on a few specific areas. Specifically, it will be the easy over the beginning slope that's open, and that's serviced with rope tows, while it's also allowing now to add a variety of features. The resort will also open the slope dubbed Swiss Miss, which is served by its Quad 83 chairlift. That's one of the first intermediate slopes that slide down from the rentals building. And now in Goshen, a 100-year-old woman reflects on the way that her love story with her late husband started while he was serving back in World War II. Vanessa Padilla, who's a writer over at Goshen News, wrote this beautiful article. Let's check it out. It's called A Love to Last a Lifetime, which is published in the Goshen News. Goshen, Indiana. In 1946, Betty Yost began working in payroll at Associates Investment Company in South Bend. And during her time in payroll, she wrote to soldiers who were overseas. She would write on blue stationery, address them, and drop off the letters at the mailing department in her office. Little did she know her next letter would lead to over 60 years of marriage. Jimmy Vaughn was working for a coal and ice company when he had been drafted for World War II and spent 3 years living in the jungle of the Philippines. His friend Irma Hellman, who worked with Yost, thought it would be good for him to have someone to talk to and knew Yost had already been writing and thought one more wouldn't hurt. Yost, who recently turned 100 years old, still remembers the day Hellman gave her information to send Vaughn a letter. I brought my letters in, and Irma, who was the head of the mailing department, said, Betty, I noticed you bring a lot of mailing to fellows in service. Would you like to write one more? And I said, sure. Well, she knew Jim from church, and Jim had just been married a very short time, and his wife died very rapidly. So she gave me Jimmy's address. Then I wrote to him and I said, hello, Jim. This is Betty, Yost said. Vaughn wrote back, but to Irma, asking who this Betty was and why she was writing to him. Irma explained to him who I was and how she knew me, and then we just started writing back and forth, and my letter was always on blue stationery. A whole year flew by, hundreds of letters and full hearts. On December 13th, 1946, Vaughn wrote one of his last letters before returning home, the most special one yet. Dear Miss Yost, this is a formal proposal for marriage. Will you marry me on the 25th of January, 1947? Yost replied, Dearest Jimmy, in answer to your darling letter I received today, yes, I will marry you, and how very happy I'll be to do so. It was New Year's Day, and Hellman had a plan to get them together. Well, in the meantime, Jimmy gets out of the service, and that same day she arranges for him to have dinner at her house and have me there too. Yost recalled. Yeah, she called me up while I was working, and she said, Betty, Jimmy's in town. He's going to pick you up and bring you to my house for supper. The first time I saw him, he was waiting by his car for me to come out of the associates from closing payroll books, she said. When we got to her house, she said, peel those potatoes. The best way to get acquainted is to peel potatoes together. So we peeled potatoes, Yost said with a warm laugh. Although neither Yost nor Vaughn were prepared for their first date peeling potatoes, Yost saw Vaughn, and despite that he was skinny and had a yellow tint from his skin from malaria, she looked at her future husband with nothing but love and admiration. He looked like a movie star, she said. As proposed by Vaughn, they married January 25th, 1947. They went on a honeymoon trip in Spring Mill. They serve you breakfast, and we never went down for breakfast, she said with a chuckle and smile. We never sat at our table at breakfast time. We always stayed in our room together. Shortly after, Yost became pregnant, went on to have 2 more children, and bought a house, Yost's dream house, that she still has today. Vaughn returned to his job with coal and ice and then attended a mechanics program. Judy Boynton, their daughter, admired her parents' relationship and said she grew up in a loving home. You just have to be best friends, Boynton said. Yeah, that's what I saw. My dad took care of my mom. That was the expectation. I grew up thinking, okay, you get married and the guy's going to take care of you for the rest of your life. My dad took great care of my mom. Before the passing of Vaughn at the age of 92, they celebrated 64 years together, happy and very much in love. When asked Yost that stayed in love for so long, when asked how Yost stayed in love for so long, her reply was, every day he always said, have I told you yet today that I love you? What a great story about decades of marriage, decades of love, and how it all meets through a letter back in World War II. Now, obviously, that would never happen today. You would never agree to marry someone you haven't even met, but how cool that even the long-distance communication that happens with that. I hope this gives you a great start to your Friday, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Tune in to the next episode for more uplifting stories for some good news, Michiana. Thanks, we'll see you.